Croeso to Wrexham News. I'm Councillor Carrie Harper.
I'm Councillor Marc Jones.
And during December, we're putting a focus on mental health and wellbeing services across Wrexham. And today we're talking to an award-winning organisation that's based in Penley called the Rainbow Foundation. And you were founded in 1994, so you spent more than 30 years supporting the local community. So joining us is Caroline Tudor, who's the CEO of the Rainbow Foundation, and also Rebecca Griffiths, who is the project manager for the Polish Heritage Penley project as well. So thank you, both of you. Thanks for joining us. I don't want to put words into your mouth in terms of what the organisation does. So can you tell me what the core mission of the Rainbow Foundation is?
Thank you for having us. Delighted to be here. We are a centre of excellence for ageing well. We're in our 31st year. And we started off as day opportunity service for older people. So what you would have called traditionally the sort of daycare model.
Yeah.
But it's very much not that, because that's why we call it day opportunities, because within it people learn to connect. And we have lots of groups and things coming in. We've got chickens on site. And yeah, it's just a sort of hive of activity where people come and learn, but also we target their frailty and try to get them to improve on the frailty. We offer care and medication support and lots of other things. And we offer showering services to the community as one example. So maybe you've had a stroke and you've come home, but your adaptations haven't been done. Where do you go? So that we also offer that within our service. So we've got one site in Penley that offers all of that as a holistic offer. And then we've replicated that in Marc. So we've got 2 sites now, and hopefully next year we'll have our 3rd site in North Wrexham. I'm trying to think of it. And we also,
do they have chickens as well? Or is that just Penley?
Yeah.
Penley special.
Penley for the chickens, but Penley, we're trying to make sure that whichever site you go to, you get the same offer, because we want people to, because Penley's been going for so long that a lot of people say, well, I just want Penley. So we say, well, no, it doesn't matter where you go, you'll get the same. So we have like a chiropodist there every 6 weeks and hair. So it's just about you coming into the building.
Oh, nice.
Everything's there that you need. But also we've got community transport. So our community transport takes our day opportunities clients out, because we don't have to be stuck within our buildings. We can get out and about. And we also offer community transport for the community of rural Wrexham, South Wrexham, because there's no community transport to get to hospital appointments, medical appointments, with physio, rehab. So we've got a lot of demand for that, which is led by volunteer drivers. So we've got that. We've also got our enhanced social prescribing service, which delivers sort of one-to-one talking therapy, mental health support in all the GP surgeries across Wrexham. So if you go to your GP or you want to self-refer because you're struggling with lots of things around lifestyle, mental health, medication, maybe obesity, or lots of things that are those wise determinants of ill health that a tablet can't fix. You go to our social prescribing service, and we've got some social prescribing outreach as well, which offers bereavement support and future care planning, or just some long-term goal setting that maybe can't be met in those sessions and needs to happen in the community. We've also got the community agents that work across North Wrexham. So we cover 6 areas in North Wrexham where they're out and about supporting the over 50s. And then we've got our Active Futures and Fit Futures programme, which has been absolutely phenomenal. So I don't know if you've seen anything about that in the news, but the people that come to that are quite frail for Active Futures. They've maybe had a fall. 30% of the people that came to that programme have had a fall, gone to A&E, been admitted to hospital. They do our programme, which is a 12 weeks intensive, twice-a-week programme. And at the end of it, we went back to people 2 years on. Not one person has fallen and gone back to A&E.
Fantastic.
So it's really challenging frailty. And that's a Bevan Commission exemplar that's off to the Senedd in January to talk about that as something we can scale up across Wales, because it's been so powerful.
Fantastic.
So
and in terms of measuring that, you can't measure the impact that has on an individual life, but in terms of preventing, saving money at A&E and all those kind of things, and rehab, and
So we can measure it all, actually.
Can you?
So
there we have it.
We have 146 metrics on Active Futures alone, and then our graduate class is called Fit Futures. So that's for people that have gone through the programme and then want to keep that muscle strength, but also for people that are new to classes that maybe aren't as frail, so they can walk independently into the class. They'd be more likely to go to Fit Futures because they're not as frail as people on Active Futures. So you've got 146 metrics, so and that's not for the healthcare costs, which we've also costed for, because we know it saves a lot of money, and that's in terms of their physical health. And then we do lots of case studies around it as well. So it's all those things about how can you rise from a chair, which means you can go to the toilet independently, so important when you age. Or if you fall over, can you recover to get back up? So yeah, we've got lots of case studies. We had one of the people on the course in their first year, Jeffrey, he has won the F. Jones Initiative Award. He couldn't walk across his yard when he started with us, and then he's ran Wrexham 10K to raise money for us. So we've been trying
That's
to build...
quite a journey, that, isn't it? Wow.
Amazing. So we've been trying to build that movement about moving more, ageing better. And I suppose that sort of sums up our charity. So all our services have come from people coming to us because that's how we work. So we're very open with the people we support, and they drive our services. So as new services come on board, it's because people have come and told us we see the demand, or we've noticed things happening to people, which we know we've got to respond to. And as a charity, that's really exciting because we can be quite agile and we can change our services. So we do. So the whole model now, we just launched our new model as a centre of excellence for ageing well. We've just rebranded, haven't we, with some new logos and designs, and then just picked out what our specialities are. So we've got frailty and falls, dementia, mental health, and ageing well. But however you come into our system and service, you can go in any direction. So you might come to the community transport, and from that you might end up in accessing our day opportunities or our peer support or Meals on Wheels. Or you could come through our fit features and active features, and you might become an active volunteer back in a community where you couldn't walk to the shop before, and now you're ready to participate again. So it's quite a sort of interlinked model.
I was going to say, it's very joined up, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah, and so it's not this separation either, by the sounds of it, between people who are providing the service and people who are using the service. It's very interactive.
Yeah, very open and warm, and anyone can refer. So you don't have to, if you went to your GP for mental health support, we don't need it to come from a professional to go to any of our services. Everyone can self-refer because we want people to own how they manage their health and well-being.
Okay.
Must have a huge impact in terms of tackling things like loneliness as well. That must be a thread that runs through everything that you're doing. I mean, a huge amount going on, isn't there?
Yeah, definitely. And also that holds people back in terms of their physical fitness.
Yeah.
And even levels of frailty, like our day opportunity service, people come, you might come because you're lonely, but you might come on a walk and you're very frail. But by the time you leave us, say you've been with us for 3 months, you've normally improved your gait and even your steps and how you hold yourself and stand up, because we've got quite wide corridors, so it enables people to move better. So if you think about if you're in home and housebound, which we hate that, because who's housebound? No one's housebound, are they? They've just been made to stay at home because there's not services to support to get out, but they're not actually housebound. But generally, the tests, we've done some tests on pedometers to see how it changes people. Because when you're in your home all the time, you often shuffle between furniture, so it encourages you to become more frail. But when you get out and about, you've got more space then to sort of improve your walking. So yeah, so that we've got a lot of our stuff is frailty, but also loneliness, definitely, and also dementia. A lot of our services started from our day ops with people that had dementia, but now we're seeing a trend where we're getting a lot more people with physical care needs as well, so complex comorbidities, which I think could be a result of us putting in the hoists and the showers at our sites to make it more accessible. So as a result, it's more accessible, so it's changed our client base a little bit.
Very good.
I mean, we could spend half an hour easily talking about any one of those things, but I suppose what would be nice to focus on is maybe some of the current projects or upcoming projects that you might want to be working on. So maybe we could talk a little bit about Penley Hospital.
Yeah.
Should we start with that?
That'd be good. The Rainbow Centre in Penley, our initial site, was started from a disused ward of Penley Hospital. So there used to be Penley Hospital, Polish Hospital, which has one operating ward left for the Polish community, and then we had like a disused building with an old shower and bath in it.
Didn't look great.
No, it was just, but from that relationship we had with the health boards, that's when we started to get clients to come to us that were lonely and isolated. And that is where we started. When the health boards moved the hospital to its new site in Penley, they gave us a piece of land next to it to lease. So then we built our new Rainbow Centre, which is where we've got all our services from now. Yeah, I don't know where to go next with that. I don't know if I might just let Becky chip in on why the hospital's there. And then
that's a nice idea.
Yeah, so like you said, the Rainbow Foundation started in the old hospital, and the old hospital, Polish hospital, was demolished in 2002. And all the site it was on was a huge site. And now it's all housing estates. And then the new hospital to replace the old Polish hospital was built in 2004 next door to the Rainbow Foundation. And obviously after the war, Churchill vowed to look after all the Polish people because they fought on the side of the British as an allied force. and they set up the first mass immigration act, the Resettlement Act of 1947. So Churchill swore to look after all the Polish people. So obviously that's why the hospital was there. My grandfather was one of the last people, I think, who passed away in the Polish hospital, and he went there for end-of-life care, and he went in 2010 and he died in 2012. And obviously because all the Polish people sadly have all passed away now, and then they started obviously allowing British people to use the hospital, which is fantastic. So like I said, my granddad was there for end-of-life care, and he had fantastic service there. But when I remember going in to visit him, and the Polish Madonna that was made by the forces that used to be in the Polish church was then put into the hospital. So that was there to greet you when you went in. So yeah, so that was that part.
So the hospital's a bit of an anomaly for Penley in that it's there because of the Polish community that resettled there after the Second World War. So when the new hospital got built, it was built as a 9-bed unit. And if we think about staff ratios and how hospitals run, you need 6 or 12, and 12 really if you've got people overnight. So it was built as sort of a scaled down version of what was there before to honour the people that were still survived from the Second World War who could access the hospital services. And then over the years, we've been talking to Betsy about it because their building, it's quite a small building, and so is ours, and the corridors align. And it was always in the back of lots of people's minds. I think there was a perception in the community that when the Polish hospital closed, which it inevitably always would, there would be some repurposing of it for the benefit of either the hospital or the community, but it would need a new something. So our corridors align, and we think it's a really exciting opportunity to deliver a 12-bed or a 9-bed. It's 9 beds now, but we can easily flip it to 12 beds by linking the 2 corridors, because we've already got physio space and a commercial kitchen in our site. So we don't need some of the bits that are in the existing hospital because they're unnecessary because the site's quite small. So we would like to link the 2 buildings and to provide rehabilitation and reablement support for people from South Wrexham. So not just Penley, because that's not viable for any service, for the whole of South Wrexham. And also we would be happy to look at end of life as well. And the reason why, when we come back to saying what our services were at Penley, a lot of what we do is driven by the people that come to us and they tell us they're really struggling. And when we did a quick survey of our clients from the Day Opportunity Service, a lot of them had fallen and gone into hospital or had some medical problem that had ended up with them going to Wrecsam Cllr. They'd waited for a very long time to get into the hospital. And when they got in the hospital, they were often there for about 30 days. So 30 days to 3 months.
Which they didn't need to be.
No, and unfortunately, during that time, they're deconditioned, they're losing loads of muscle mass, and they're likely to then get discharged on a walking aid. But that daily rehabilitation and reablement hasn't happened. And whilst Penley was amazing as a service offer for people that it was sort of how it's been used in the last few years, people were going there waiting to go home. That daily rehab of, really intensive physio and occupational therapy support to get you as fit as you possibly can be before you get home wasn't available. So that's what we'd like to do with it. We'd like to support people to get out of Wrecsam Cllr much quicker. But when they get out, they're the people that they're not able to go home straight away because you put in a home first team in to pop in once a day. It's just not enough.
Yeah.
No. They need that really good push of physio.
It's like step down care, isn't it?
Absolutely, yeah. So we think that's a really big gap for the
and also is there a proposal as well for step up so that people don't actually need to go into an acute bed in hospital in Cllr, but they could go to step up, which should be and you've got all those services, so
we'd love that. So we've got, like, Wrexham as a whole has got the worst ambulance conveyance rates at the moment for the whole of Wales. So something's got to change. That's got to give, hasn't it? So we need to figure out how to stop people going into hospital, but also how do we get them out quicker and more effectively. And that's why we'd like to link it, because we've piloted our Active Futures programme that is for those people that have gone into hospital, have a fall, and they've not gone back in 2 years. We feel like we've got this really robust model where we can prove impact, and we know that our physiotherapy services work so well that those people would then go home and they'd be much less likely to go back in as a failed discharge, because they're going to be active, aren't they, again, and able to care for themselves.
And what sort of response have you had for that? I know maybe that's a difficult one for you to answer, but it seems like a joined up thinking, and you would like to think that people would run with that. And I'm very aware that a place like South Wrexham gets neglected in the great scheme of things. It's rural, small population, difficult to get from, but you've got people with needs there.
Yeah.
And so what is the response? Are you encouraged?
Well, I'm just going to add a little bit to that as well. So in terms of just sort of my stats, so what with me, 33% of all the over 65s across the whole of Wrexham live in South Wrexham. So if we think about care closer to home, we're targeted, that is actually local to them. So they are a neglected community, but also it's really clear the demand's there.
Yeah.
So it's not that people from North Wrexham would need to go there. There's more than enough demands for a 12-bed facility to support people from South Wrexham to come closer to home before they get home.
Sure.
So we have been talking to the health board about this for about the past 6 years. So it's always been sort of an idea to explore. And a lot of the offer we worked up, we spoke to lots of staff across Betsy, and we spoke to the people that work in A&E because we wanted a really robust response that we felt addressed the system stresses in the NHS, because you don't want half a model. And then I suppose one of the issues was the community transport, but as I've just we've got 4 vehicles now, so the community transport is built into our model. So it's not a hospital model, it's very much a community-led model in the community that gets people home, but also gets them connected. So when we talk about loneliness, which you said about before, if you don't get back into your local service, it's likely you just go home anyway. You get isolated and lonely, and you get more frail, and you're back into hospital.
Yeah.
So it's trying to think about all of what we do and merge the two together. So the health board have been really, really positive about our approach, but obviously they are now doing a community consultation.
Yeah.
Where they've got 3 offers at the moment that they're exploring with the community, and one of them is ours, which is to have the beds with all the rehabilitation. So it's an open conversation, but I've no idea where that
So it's really important that people do feed into the consultation, and people like themselves should also be feeding in, because it does make a difference.
Definitely. And understand what we're offering, because I think it's quite unique, because it's not the offer of linking with a third sector facility. It's very much about the premises we've got and all the work we've done that makes it viable, because otherwise it's a standalone sort of 9-bed unit, which doesn't really work very well, but we can easily flip it to the 12.
There's a logic there, isn't there?
Yeah.
Yeah, so...
And if you visit the site, I visited the site a couple of months ago,
Yeah.
and you can see how it already works.
Yeah.
It's already providing that community facility. So you're adding, you're not creating something totally new. You're just adding something very, very unique to something that's already working, I think.
Yeah. Yeah, that's how we see it. And I suppose when we think about, we've got lots of case studies of clients that have been in hospital that because they've not had that facility. Like we've had one lady who worked that was in hospital for over 4 months, and then when she went home, our care team supported her to go from double-handed care to single-handed care. But in all that time, there was no work with her around her deconditioning, because she was getting hospital care, which was excellent, but it was very much hospital-based bed care, which is not step up, step down, reablement support. So even though teams have gone into her house when she's got home, we could have done that. There's still a need for that, but we could have done that intense work before the team afterwards kicked in. So it's been a lot more work for everybody to reverse the frailty, but to then, and the cost, a lot more cost for everybody as well.
Yeah.
So we'd urge everybody to go to Penley, because I think some people that are commenting on the consultation, I think it's really important people comment. But I think it's not a large community hospital like Cllr. It is a tiny little building which links next to ours. So I think it's just worth having a look at how the site interacts now, and thinking about how it can be used.
It's far more sustainable as a site then if the two are integrated.
We think so, yeah. But obviously
It does seem to make sense, doesn't it? So if people want to comment on the consultation, then where can they access that?
I'm not sure where that's up to with the health board. So there was a consultation survey that was open, and you can fill it in online, and then it closed, and I'm not quite sure now where it's up to. But I'm aware it's supposed to still be open.
We'll have a look. If there's a link, we can pop it in the info or the comments section, so people can find that.
Right.
The one way I came across your organisation was actually from the Civic Society Awards the other week, and I know you've won an award there to bring Rebecca in terms of the Heritage Project. So there's another big project going on. Could you tell us, I know we've had a little bit of a background in terms of the hospital itself, what the Heritage Project is about? And I'll get the name right as well. It's the Polish Heritage Penley Project, isn't it?
Yes, it's Polska Penley Preserving a Legacy, which has now been funded by the Heritage Lottery Fund. So we've been funded for 3 years. We did have a engagement year that was funded by Shared Prosperity. So this one now, we're going to be looking at the history of the village, because obviously after the war there was over 250,000 Polish people that were resettled in the UK, and they were resettled into the old camps that were built ready for D-Day by the Americans. So Penley had 2 camps, and they had a very large camp in Penley, which carried on till the 70s probably. So it was one of the longest running camps, and everything was self-contained there. So, but if you think about everything was self-contained in one place, they had the hospital, they had a morgue, they had a community centre, the cinema, church, everything was there. So
Oh, wow.
my mother and aunt were born into the camp and grew up there. I remember the camp as a child when it was just mainly the hospital, and then it was completely demolished. So if you think as a child, there's no village that you've got to go back to. Penley's there, but the village they grew up to doesn't exist anymore. So we're looking at that, and also obviously all the original Polish that settled here and what they did and what they suffered during the war. And then there's nothing really to remember them. So we're looking at obviously that history. So we've got a heritage garden outside the Rainbow Foundation with a sculpture which we're working on. We plan to do a walking tour in the village, collect lots of oral histories for people who remember the camp. So there's a lot of NHS staff as well that work there, so in finding those people as well as people that remember the camp. We've had delivery drivers pop up at Penley saying they remember going there, bus drivers that used to take there's a lot of dancers there, and also people, second generation Polish people. So we're collecting oral histories, photographs. They're going to be uploaded to People's Collection Wales. We're having an exhibition, and then a virtual exhibition. So over these 3 years, we're relying on volunteers again to help to do all these types of things, whether they don't have to have a connection, but if they're interested in helping and heritage. So we've got these 3 years to build on all this information and also raise an awareness. So again, giving a talk to the Civic Society, and it's amazing that we've won that award, which is lovely. And then continuing to raise awareness, really.
It's a lovely project. I think it's a really important project.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Sorry, I'm interrupting. I just really like how everything that's growing out of this project as a whole is based on the heritage of the site. It's all growing quite organically on top of that footprint, isn't it? Which is really nice to see and unusual.
Yeah, and also obviously we're talking about the volunteers, and we've had volunteers come to us as clients and then come and help, and it helps their loneliness and isolation and well-being. And obviously other people could come for different reasons, but obviously that's another side to it.
So it just it feels timely now because the hospital's closed and there will never be a hospital again now, so it feels timely what we're doing it. But we also feel quite sad because some of the first clients that came to Rainbow only spoke Polish, and they've been in concentration camps and awful things had happened to them, and we've sort of lost a lot of that. So we really want to try and capture some of it, don't we? So there's a proper permanent record and a legacy for what came before.
Because obviously the second generation Polish are now aging as well. So it's getting all this information before it's gone forever, really. So yeah, it's really important.
So where do people contribute to that, though, if there are people listening to this who might have something that they want to make sure is recorded or to add in?
So they can go on our website, and we've also got a Facebook page for the Polish Heritage Penley. I have to think about that.
Okay.
If they type that in, they'll find
so they can contact us. Yeah. So any information they might have, whether it be just a tiny little thing or anything at all, if they've got any memories, photographs, any bit of information is really important. Yeah.
Great. Good luck with that.
Thank you very much.
Yeah.
Fantastic. And for me, finding out about the Rainbow Foundation is pretty new. I think for a lot of people maybe watching it will be as well. And I'm just amazed at sort of just the layers of different levels of work and projects that you're involved with, and ambition and potential for the future is really exciting.
And like I say, because we are rural South Milo, that's the problem, isn't it? So, we are part of Wrexham, but people don't know about us because we are in those rural communities. Yeah.
Well, hopefully this will help raise awareness about the work that you're doing as well. So diolch yn fawr iawn. Thank you very much for coming to talk to us.